Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, and I'm a blue dot in a red state utilizing Tarot to help us navigate these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So, really glad that you're here and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be the new Pope. We have a new Pope was elected, and he is going by Pope Leo XIV, previously known as Cardinal Robert Prevost, and he is a U.S. citizen. So it's first time an American has been elected Pope. So what I want to do is just kind of a base reading of what that is going to look like for him. And then I also want to look into what his relationship is going to be with this current administration. Okay, so he's been critical, to say the least. As I was reading, about him, just briefly, he's very much in line with Pope Francis and with his message and what he saw for the church. He is also a big proponent for social justice. So seeing what his idea of for a leader is, and then what this administration is, definitely in direct contrast. So I do want to look at what that relationship is going to be like with the new Pope, especially since he is a U.S. citizen. So what we'll do is we'll start with just a base reading about the new Pope, Pope Leo. And just base reading of what is his papacy going to look like, just kind of in general. They were saying that at 69, he's like a young pope. So, I mean, he could have 20, 25 years, who knows, ahead of him. So he really could make, this could be a very significant papacy for the church. So, as always, these are for entertainment purposes only, as we just do a base reading into Pope Leo XIV. What is his reign going to look like? Just general base reading. Okay. The current situation, strength. Okay. And he's going to be a very strong leader. Okay, that is coming up here. It's like you notice here, you've got the woman who's over, taming the beast. I think when I saw this, my first thought was, like the shepherd, taking care of his flock. That's very much going to be what what Pope Leo is about, taking care of the people. The challenges are the hermit. I find that interesting. The hermit card is a challenge, going to be a challenge for him. I think that in the news, they were talking about how it's such a big change, even going from, as a cardinal. And he was the head of the dicastery of bishops, which is a group of bishops who select the next bishops. And so they were just talking about, various popes, and like they ride their bike or they take public transport. They lead actually relatively normal lives, just, being able to go about their normal day to day. With this coming up as a challenge, this is telling me that that's going to be a big adjustment for him. He is, it's almost like I got this feeling of like, when I was hearing it, it's like, wow, that's a big loss of like independence. Because you always have somebody around, just even the security and everything. So I think for him, the challenge is just going to be, it's almost like this feeling of being locked away. Like, that is not who he is. He is not someone who's just going to be locked away behind the Vatican city walls. He wants to be out amongst the people. Okay, doing the work of the church. Like, he wants to be right there. He started as a missionary, and so he's used to being, in the field doing the work. And so I kind of see like that might be a challenge for him. Like, he might not be able to, he's not going to be able to do all the things that he once did. This is also going within and finding that light, finding that path, finding that righteous path. So another challenge would be, him finding his footing, like how is he going to distinguish himself in his papacy? I would imagine that, they're seeing this as a continuation of Pope Francis, but he's also going to leave his own mark. Okay. And that's going to be, we're going to see more of that, coming out as, he goes down his, that path for himself. Okay. Options. Page of Cups. This is like, how is the church going to be of service to the world? In the past, it's almost like, how could the world be of service to the church? And I'm not Catholic, so this is just, somebody who's outside of the church, with this perception. It almost is like, I always got this feeling like the church was over there. It was separate from, the Pope was separate from everyone. This is a very different feeling that I'm getting here. Okay. Who are we? We need to be a source of strength and light, especially in dark times, for the world. Okay. That, I think, is going to be the heart of who he is as Pope. Okay. Past experiences, the Star card, hopes and dreams. Did he ever think he would become Pope? Who knows? I would imagine that, with him being up, the head of the dicastery of bishops, he's pretty high up there in the in the church order. But I'm also seeing this as, what are the hopes and dreams of the church? Because now he embodies the church. So with this, who were we in the past? Who do we want to be in the future? How do we, what is our message going to be to the world? And as I said, for him, it's being reported he's very much in line with social justice. He also is very critical of J.D. Vance and Trump. So that's going to be interesting to see. That was going to be my second question with that. Recent influences. Oh, the Tower card. I don't think for recent influences for the church, this is going to be the scandals. These are going to be the child abuse scandals. And now this is coming in the past. So it's like, I don't mean to sound callous when I say this, but this is, how do we move from here? Like, this is in the past, and now how do we do good in the world? This is an example of, we were not. This was a very dark period for the Catholic Church, especially in, modern times. So he sees this, he's aware of this, he's aware of what people think of the church, and he wants this to be a different message going forward. He wants to be a church that is that stands up for people, that takes care of people, and that righteous path forward. Okay, he wants to be a source of light and hope, not this that happened in the past. Okay, and the potential for his reign. Moon card. This is interesting because I'm like, Moon card is changes. I'm going to move that. Sorry, I've got that glare there. Okay, that'll keep me from putting cards over there. With this is Moon card is a card of changes. So I'm curious about these changes that he looks like he wants to be ushering in. I mean, it's very much, we want to move past this. These scandals were in the past, and we're now going to be moving forward, and some reforms that he's going to be making. I wonder what these potential is. What is this Moon card? What is, it could be things, that have been kept in the dark, but I really am feeling more like changes. Like, I'm seeing like the moon is ever changing. These are, and especially as it relates to these other cards. So I'm wondering, what are going to be some of these changes or clarification on the Moon card? Okay, and clarification, going in a new direction. I think that, the church has been plagued by these scandals. He's wanting to kind of like, okay, we're ready to move forward. We're ready to move forward. We're ready to just go in a new direction, be more of that light in the world. How are we seen in the world? This is a card of 10s are security. This is also like, you've achieved what it is that you're wanting to achieve. It's also legacy. What is the legacy of this church? What do we want it to be? And that's where he is moving the church in a new direction for legacy, because he sees what the past problems were. And yeah, that's going to be him. Very strong leader. using the position and power of the church for the betterment of mankind. Okay, so that is going to really kind of be his overall message here, and that he's going to be able, I mean, he's got the potential of a very long papacy. So that, and he knows, it's like he's taking this. Every pope takes their job seriously, but he also realizes where he is in the history of the church, the recent scandals, this his successor, what Pope Francis was able to do, and now he's taking this like to the next level. And the next level is going to be that perception of who we are in the world. How do we not just talk, but how do we actually take care of others? I'm seeing like that soft power, like the United States has abdicated. Will the church be filling in some of that? And I think so. Okay, so I guess I'm seeing this more as a hands-on. He's going to be very hands-on, very direct, very he's not just going to be hiding, not hiding behind the papal walls, but it's like he's going to be more than just the figurehead. I think he's going to absolutely be a leader by example. Okay, so how is his relationship going to be with the current occupants of the White House, this current administration? Real quick here. So with as I was reading about some of the things about Pope Leo, he is now as Cardinal Prevost, who that's who he is. He was very active on social media, and so it'll be interesting. They were saying, will he continue, keeping up with his own personal account? But as a cardinal, he was very outspoken against Vance. Vance gave just some horrendous, interview on Fox, of course, of what his idea of Christianity was, and it was like, we take care of our own first, and he was using his definition of Christianity to defend the deportations. And the cardinal came out and said, no, that is not what Christianity is. He was also been very critical of Trump as far as the deportations as well. And then also in the past, Black Lives Matters. I mean, there's been a history of him being critical. So I just want to know, is that criticism going to continue? What's the relationship going to be like with this current administration and the Pope? Because you can't tariff Vatican City. Okay, so how will his relationship be with this current administration? Okay, let's do that one more time. There we go. Okay, so the here and now. There is hope, what I'm seeing is the church is in a the church is in a much better position than the United States right now. The church actually is offering more stability than the United States government. So this is also, there's hope for maybe a happy, relationship there. The challenges are going to be messaging. He is not, the messaging that comes out and the things that this current administration does, especially as it comes to, those deportations, just flies in the face of what this Pope stands for. Okay. So yeah, expect communications. I think that, the line of communications will be open. I'm curious about if, what exactly will those communications be? So options coming in, the sword of truth. I think that this Pope is going to be the moral conscience of this reminder to this administration. Okay, Queen of Swords, that sword of truth. Okay, so the church is going to be the sword of truth when it comes to this administration. Past experiences, people rising up, the judgment. The church judging, because remember, this is very interesting where this is going. Now, as I said, I'm not Catholic, so if I get any of this wrong, I'm sorry. But my understanding is that the Pope is the voice of God. here on earth. He is the physical representation of God. And so the Pope passing judgment on this administration, he is definitely going to be calling this administration out. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens in the United States, because I keep saying, like, people keep rising up. Well, here you've got now literally the embodiment and voice of God on earth telling this administration, being that sort of truth. So I wonder how that's going to affect, the church here in the United States. Recent influences. This Pope's unimpressed. That's just recent influences. He is unimpressed. He is unimpressed with J.D. Vance. He is not liking what he's seeing or what he's hearing from this administration. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. And the potential, the outcome here, the death card, major transformation. I wonder what this transformation, that's all this is. Transformation. One thing has to end, so a new thing begins. I'm curious about what exactly this is, because I am curious about what the approval rating is. How many MAGA is in the Catholic Church? That's what I'm wondering. And if this Pope is critical, is that going to be enough to sway any MAGA Catholics that we have going on here in the United States? Is that going to be that's kind of the feeling I'm curious about. So what is this major transformation? What is this major transformation? Just some clarifying. Just like the wealthiest country in the world, you need to decide how you use your money, and it should be for the people, not the oligarchs. Very quickly. Oh my. And big messaging. So I'm thinking that this is like right out of the gate. This Pope is going to be saying, is going to be the moral reminder to this administration of how a country of our wealth should be taking care of the people, and that's not happening right now. Okay. I think that's going to be a big message coming out here. How will Trump take this? How will Trump and JD, how will the current administration take these moral objections the church has? And the current administration, they feel like they are the government. Remember you had Trump there in that AI dressed as the Pope. He's going to be like, because I was asking from Trump's point of view, he is the government. He's the one who decides. He's not going to take he don't have to listen to no Pope tell him what to do. And that he's going to say, people are just as happy. And it's like, no, we're not. The oligarchs might be, but the rest of us are not. And you saw me shuffle. Whereas the Pope is the head of the church, this administration is of the devil. Okay, I'm just laughing because Tarot kind of has a sense of humor, apparently. So you've got, the Church of God and the administration from hell. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing with this. And the recent influences, Trump has had his own little, fiefdom over here. He's had his own thing going on. He doesn't need no stinking Pope telling him that he is doing things wrong. So I don't know how good this relationship's going to be. And I'm feeling like from Pope Leo, it's not that he doesn't care, but he doesn't care. He's like, his obligation is to the church and to God. His obligation is not to placate, this toddler in chief that we've got in the White House. And Trump is not used to that. Okay. He is not used to the way he's not used to that. So he's kind of like, well, I'm going to do my own thing. I've got, I am the authority here. And I don't think he's going to listen. He's just not going to listen. He's going to ignore. You've got twos here. If you don't say what I want. If you're not going to like me, then I'm just going to ignore you. That's kind of what I'm getting here. So the this current administration, on the surface, they may have, pleasantries, but expect barbs to be kind of, passed back and forth there. This Pope is absolutely going to call them out on the horrendousness, and Trump sees himself as, well, I'm the head of the, head here, and yeah, I'm just laughing with the Hierophant and the devil. That's kind of funny how that comes up there. So that's kind of what I'm getting with this. I think that Pope Leo is not just a continuation of Pope Francis, but he's going to take the church to that next level. I would expect some modern reforms coming out from him. I would expect a more direct approach as it like that soft power in the world, and doing more of that, especially in light of the United States abdicating kind of like our responsibility in that, and that this Pope will be calling the United States out on that. Expect kind of some tense relationship. I don't know if tense would be, it's going to be, I can't even say it'll be polite, because Trump never does anything polite. So, Trump will be horrendous, and this Pope will absolutely call them out on all of that. So, and as far as this Pope goes, as far as like who he is and like the church and all of that, yeah, I expect some modernization, expect some, will we get as far as, women being allowed to be priests and priests being allowed to marry? I don't know. We'll have to see. And 20 years as Pope is a long time. So, he's definitely going to make an impact on this church. And it looks like it'll be a positive impact, especially with how the church is perceived in the world. So thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you could hit subscribe, that helps to support my channel and helps it to grow as I'm growing this channel. I'm going to put up some more videos for you to watch, especially if this is your first video. Check out some of my others, and also the subscribe button is right there too. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.